I can't do it, it's too much sugar.
Oh, you can do it. I did it.
Looks like, since you guys, since Bill Drocky just sent this, so you guys probably don't have it, it looks like our property tax took a 50% increase. Our property tax values took a 50% increase.
Oh, okay.
So he just sent this a little bit ago, so.
Oh, that's the order, right?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We will open the public comment. Is there any public comment? Yeah.
Tim Ravendall, citizen, just relaying a message here that was asked to be submitted to the commission for the record. I'll quickly read this and then hand it to you. I only got the one copy, so. Commissioners Mike Delger, Laura Obert, Del Fulford convene at 9:00 a.m. to participate in a telephone conference call on, I don't remember. Okay, anyway, the call with Brent Burton, Sharon Walker, concerns the possible sale of Silos KOA and the transfer of the contract for services between JSJ and Broadwater County. No decision was made. The call ended at 9:40. The next regular meeting is scheduled for June 4th, 2019 at 1 p.m. Considering the meeting was 40 minutes long, the minutes are seriously lacking in any detail. The citizens of Broadwater County are entitled to a more comprehensive idea of the content of conversations, and these minutes show an appalling disrespect for the citizens and voters. I recommend a revision of those minutes that will fully cover all items discussed during those 40 minutes. I further request a copy of this letter to be included in the records of the minutes to this meeting. Again, shoot the messenger, but I wanted to deliver that.
Who's it from, please?
That's from Cheryl Campbell and Cheryl and Earl Campbell. I'm sorry, I should have done that first.
I do also have a comment. I do want to share with you, I want to formally thank Tom Helm for building steps for the canisters at the after hours access point for all of our canister sites.
Oh.
So I do have a thank you card that I got for him. I will bring it by this afternoon and have you sign it as well, if you would. So I really appreciate the fact that he just saw a need and he took care of it. So,
So people can get up on the steps to
yes,
throw their...
to throw their waste in the can. Yes.
Very cool.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
I think he is a shining example of our awesome people
Yes.
in this county.
Yes.
Kudos to Tom.
Yes.
Okay, so we will go on to our 11 a.m. typo. That's supposed to be 10 a.m.
Okay. All right.
Mary Hendrickson, personnel needs, job description, GPS, GIS decision.
Okay, so what I have here, I just kind of roughed out the duties and responsibilities for an administrative assistant. Sorry,
Thanks,
I
Mary.
didn't get a chance to staple it together yet, but you'll see it's quite extensive. You know, for the last year or so, I've been doing my own admin stuff, and what am I trying to say? Sorry. I could really use some assistance. I could use some assistance from someone, at least part-time, to do some administrative duties, filing, drafting letters for me based on letters that I've done in the past, putting the claims together. The claims are probably one of my biggest tasks that I do. And I've tried to do them, you know, once a month, and I get stacked up and it takes me a couple of days to get them all done. So I'm back to trying to do them every week. But at the same time taking care of the issues associated with solid waste, roads, and weeds and mosquitoes. Weeds and mosquitoes has not been a problem. Jessica is an awesome employee. I'm very happy with her. And we do meet weekly so that she can let me know what's going on, and I can give her feedback on tasks that tasks that are either being done or need to be done. But the biggest time sink that I have is roads and solid waste right now. Solid waste primarily because of the change we made. Still working out some of the kinks, but we haven't had very many. We did have someone tear down a fence at Winston yesterday and got into the site, dumped a bunch of garbage into the metal can and in front of the metal can. And it took us yesterday probably 8 hours of combined staff time to clean it up yesterday, and then Mike Myers and I went out there this morning and spent about an hour and a half finishing things up out there. So those are the sorts of things that, you know, when things like this happen, that I get called to take care of. So I put this together because what I envision this person doing is answering my calls, checking the voicemail, setting up the filing system, again, putting together letters, putting the claims together for my signature, just kind of general, and doing the invoices for solid waste. Actually, that's another big one that I haven't had a whole lot of time to do. I have had one of my attendants do that because I have had one of the attendants up at the transfer station a couple days a week, so that we have someone there in the office if people come in. So she's been able to get those things done. So that's kind of what I'm looking for, is someone that can do that, can screen calls for me, because there are other things that I need to do in my position as Public Works Director. So this is what I would envision for an admin person. I don't know if you have any questions on that at all.
Would you also have her do the minutes for the weed board? Wouldn't you have an issue with the weed board doing, no, they don't have anybody to do the minutes?
Right. So we could, and I could have someone do the minutes for the solid waste board also. Typically, those are things that I have been doing, is putting those minutes together for the board members for solid waste. Jessica, I believe, has been doing that for the weed board. And that person wouldn't necessarily have to go to the meeting. We could record it, and they could transcribe the recording. So that's how I would envision that. And that, it doesn't take very long to do. For me, it's just been trying to find the time. And I know now for Jessica, because it's busy, for her it'll be the same thing, trying to find the time to transcribe what was recorded during the last meeting. I'm also looking for someone to scan and put together the approved approach permits so that I can have an index of addresses that we have approved approach permits on, so that I can then put together the process to deal with approaches that have had no permit and have no culvert onto the county road. And that's an issue that I would like to deal with late summer, early fall. I would have liked to have done it sooner, but again, it's just finding the time to do that.
Another, it may be in here, but another thing that this person could do is double check to make sure that everybody is being assessed.
Yes.
It's been a long-standing problem.
Yes.
The 1 year Brian was able to dive into it, he found 45,000-ish of unassessed
Yes.
Solid waste fees, and then some of those were dropped off again. If we could have somebody consistently looking at that, and that is, that could be an assistant position.
Yes.
I believe that it would make a big difference.
It would make a big difference. And I'll tell you what, with the permit system that we've gone to, we have found a lot of them too, because people need a permit.
Yep.
And
Just kind of, so far, how many have been returned? People that, quite a few?
I bet 40.
Okay.
I bet I have 40 or so.
Okay. Out of those people that, the ones that have been returned, how many are called to say I didn't get my tag?
Probably 5.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yep. So now it's a matter of just going back and searching through voting records to see if we have a better address for people, seeing if those people actually reside at that location. Some of them that have been returned, those people don't live at that address anymore.
Sure.
So, and I've gone back through the tax records. I use the tax records to get the addresses, the names and addresses. So if our tax records, and I know that the Department of Revenue came in a couple weeks ago. I sat down and talked to them. They were trying to do an update with Doug at that time. There was a problem with that. I'm not sure, and I haven't had a chance to circle back with Doug to see if they were ever able to update his records that he has. But that's where we're at. And I know that when they get their tax statements back, they have other databases that they'll look through to try to get correct addresses.
Sure.
So,
That sounds good. So this position here is gonna be a part-time person, right?
well, yes, I could use someone. I could keep them busy for up to 30 hours a week.
All right, and you're planning to pay for this out of roads and solid?
Roads
waste?
and solid waste, yes,
Okay,
yes.
all right. And you feel your budget can support that right now?
I do, especially with the additional assessments that we've gotten, because I do anticipate more. I'm seeing the construction that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to talk to Doug and to DOR about kind of amending our process to get the solid waste assessments on there, on those homes, when they're built, rather than waiting another year to do that. And Department of Revenue is going to give the county the ability to put the solid waste assessment on the tax bill. Most counties do that themselves. Broadwater County is one of the few that has Department of Revenue do that. And I don't know why it was set up like that in the first place. I do not know. But they would love to give us that. They would love to give us the ability to do that.
Right. And that actually would probably be better for us, right?
It would be, yes,
Okay.
yes.
And would Doug do that, or would you could work together on that?
We could work together on it. They said that they would give me the authority to do that. I would certainly work with Doug's office up there and make sure that when we have a deed recorded, that information, gets sent to me so I can be sure that assessment is on there.
You know, the other coordination I think that needs to take place, and we can probably have this talk with Doug as well, is I know that some of those envelopes that were sent out were people that had been deceased.
Yes,
And, they have that information. It's just a matter
yes,
of going to the person next to them and getting it.
right,
So I
Yes.
think we need to get that sorted out.
yes, yep. And I would like to put a process together so that we have one in place for whoever, is in this position in the future. So
Okay.
it would help a lot. So I do feel my budget could support it. Have I gone through my budget right now? No, I haven't. But I do know that my expenditures were, in both cases, were much less than my projected revenues for both roads and solid waste. So I can get that information together. I just honestly have not had time to do that the last couple days. So
Mary, you mentioned up to 30 hours
yes,
a week. So I'm envisioning maybe a 50-50 split.
yes,
I'd leave that to you. My question would be though, or is, could you recruit someone at part-time? Do you think you could get somebody, a quality person with all these skills with a
I
part-time
do,
position? Okay.
yes,
And would you be thinking, you said up to 30, that's
Up to
the
30,
health
yeah.
insurance line.
yes.
Would you be thinking about keeping them right under that or right over that?
Well, I would, what I want to do is I want to look at the budget and see if it would support someone at 32 hours a week with benefits. That actually, as you know, is an additional expense
Right,
that we have. I'm trying to keep expenses down right now. That's why I was looking at 30 hours or less a week. For now, this is a position that I would envision at some point in the future, and I'm talking, you know, maybe a year from now, a year and a half from now, is having a full-time position of an administrative assistant.
So here's the only thing I want to comment on that is, you know, we get criticized a lot about growing our government,
Mm-hmm.
adding full-time employees when our budgets are tight.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
keep that in mind.
Right. I understand that.
Okay.
Yes, I do. I do honestly see the need for this, though. I do. I am doing Dana's old job plus, Brian's old job plus, and over weeds and mosquitoes. Just like I said, Jessica does a fine job, but there are things that are my charge, and that. So my job is big, and just trying to find the time to do this in a timely manner and deliver the quality that I desire to deliver to the county and to the commissioners. It would be, I could see having help to do these administrative tasks would free up my time to then provide more quality information.
You know, the other part of that is, and it's a discussion for another time, but we need to talk with the people you feel are going to be your lead people in those areas.
Yes,
They need to be taking on some more of that responsibility.
yes. And I agree.
Okay.
Yes, I do. And I've had that conversation with them.
Okay.
Yep.
so, I think what you just said is 100% right on. So you are doing the job of 3 supervisors we had previously,
Mm-hmm.
and we took 3 high-paid supervisor positions, made 1,
Mm-hmm.
and now we're talking about a lower-paid, very much lower-paid
Mhm.
administrative assistant.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 3 high-paid conversed with 1 high-paid and
Mhm.
1 low-paid.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's important to keep in mind.
Mm-hmm.
As far as you said, 30 hours or less, the
Mhm.
line is 30.
Yes.
And that's the ACA and our Teamsters
Okay.
that determine that. So for part-time, I would say do 28.
Mhm.
That way there's a little bit of a cushion.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you have 400 hours of comp time
Mm-hmm.
says that you need some help.
Mhm.
And it says that the cost on the county is not as wisely spent with you doing administrative work as we could be
Right.
spending the taxpayers'
Yes.
money.
And I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. You pay me too much to do my filing.
right. Yeah, plain and simple.
Yes.
So, yeah, if you think 28 hours will work for you,
Yes.
I would support that. And perhaps during the interview process, we can let somebody know, the applicants know, that the future plan
Mm-hmm.
would probably be seeing this as a full-time position in
Mhm.
the future.
Yes.
So, and if 28 hours is sufficient, great.
Mm-hmm.
And I would hope that the minutes for the weed board, I like your idea of recording.
Mm-hmm.
That way we're not paying somebody comp time to show up extra.
Right.
But that should come out of the weed budget.
Okay.
So yeah, those are my only thoughts. I don't think there's a choice. And again, you know, we took 3 full-time high-paid
Mhm.
jobs and created 1.
Mm-hmm. And there's been a lot going on in each of those departments too in the last year and a half.
Yeah.
So transitioning and then some of the changes that we've made. So yes, thank you.
Are we gonna talk about the GPS GIS?
Yes, so I have my kickoff meeting with Public scheduled for Friday. It'll be Nicole and I and then the Publix folks. they're gonna need to have Nicole there so that we can talk about the GIS system that we have, because she's gonna need to upload some data to them for that, to help this work. So I am still looking at a seasonal employee for roads, just to locate culverts right now. I want culvert location, I would like culvert markers, and I want the size of the culverts. I need to know what's out there. That I envision taking a good 6 weeks to do that work. If I have one person doing that in a vehicle, just going up and down the roads, we should be able to get that done in about 6 weeks. And then that information is what I would put into the PubWorks software so that we have a layer then. We have a culvert layer in that, which I think is really, really important to have.
Does that PubWorks now for your bridge inventory, does it have that as well? You can do your bridge inventory in there?
Yes.
And the current inventory you have now probably has GPS coordinates, or no?
I don't believe so.
Okay. So it's something else to consider.
Yes.
When that time comes.
Yes. Because what I can do is the state does bridge inspections. And I know that they have that information on our bridges. And what I'd like to do is tie those inspections into the bridge layer. So I envision this PubWorks is going to have all different sorts of layers. I want county maintained roads, I want county roads, I want public roads, I want culverts. You know, the bridges, if we can tie those inspections to the bridge, and if we scroll over there, we could see what the latest inspection report was for that.
So here when things settle down here in the next week or two, we do need to work on our CIP.
Yes, okay,
Okay?
all right. Yes,
Okay.
that'll be good.
So when you're doing this GIS, GPS work, are you gonna also include, approaches? Or are you only gonna do those for new ones?
I could, actually, because they'll be going down county roads, thank you. I wasn't thinking that far ahead. But that's good. I have asked the road crew to keep a log of, you know, approaches off of county roads that don't have culverts. I have not followed up with them to see if they've been doing that or not.
Well, that's gonna be a big task.
It is,
Have to chisel away at it a little bit
yes,
at a time.
yep.
So your seasonal for the roads, for all the culvert work, that would be second seasonal. The first one is still gonna do the mowing, or are you
Yes.
gonna? Okay,
Yes, so I am going to be putting that announcement out there for the seasonal mower. I noticed MDT is mowing today. They started their mowing, so, and we need to get out there with this sweet clover that we have growing. It's getting pretty high,
yeah.
so.
So we'll need to vote to allow Mary to increase her staff by these 2 positions.
So the two positions will be this administrative assistant, which is a 28-hour job a week, and then the other one would be the seasonal GPS GIS, because the seasonal
Mower, we
mower,
already have
You
that.
already have that.
Yes.
So we're adding those two.
Yes.
The GPS GIS and the assistant.
Yes. And I did have Michelle go through and put together the salary for the seasonal GPS person. So she did already do that. She went through the matrix and put that together for me. So,
Excellent. In the future, if you do go to full-time with the 28 hours, you could split that. So that the health insurance would be covered half by solid waste and could be half by roads.
Okay.
Which is incorporated with the rest of the county.
okay.
Yeah,
right.
solid waste isn't.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
So I will move that we approve Mary's request for a seasonal employee for the road department to track culverts and help input those into Public Works for the public and for Mary's own, for the departmental knowledge.
Oh, I guess, how many hours are you thinking, Mary, on that? Like a week? For the GIS, GPS?
40 hours a week.
40 hours?
I would have someone doing 40 hours, yeah.
And for how long?
Probably just 6 weeks. If we start in July, because we have college students out there, high school students out there, that would probably be interested in doing this. I have had some inquiries from some individuals. So, I envision July through the second or third week of August before school starts back up again. So I'm just looking at 6 weeks, 40 hours a week.
Okay.
Is that gonna be, is that gonna be restrictive only to that,
The road seasonal?
for the GPS person?
Yes.
I mean, that's all we're gonna have them do?
Yes.
Okay. So that's just gonna be, basically gonna be for this summer?
Yes.
Okay. Then once we get that file upgraded, who would upgrade that system once this person gets everything input? Like, who's gonna do?
It would be me after that point if we had everything in there. If we have new additions to that, that's something that I would be able to put in there.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And
It's
do we
just
have a-
right now, it's just building that database.
Sure. Do we have a unit? that we're gonna
No, we
use?
don't. We don't have a unit yet. Actually, I'll tell you, one thing that I've been looking at is the GPS locator on your phone.
Mhm.
It actually is reasonably accurate. I don't know that I necessarily need, if we have culvert markers out there, I don't believe that I need the accuracy that
Yeah.
Nicole
Right.
and Sean were talking
So
about.
you're thinking down to 2 meters?
Yeah.
That's kind of where you're at?
Yes.
Okay.
Because typically when we do locates, when we do culvert work and locates, we'll go 30 to 40 feet beyond where we want to put it, just to give us the room and to let us know where things are before we start digging.
I guess I'm just thinking, in the spring, if we need to locate that culvert for flooding purpose, whatever, this can be accurate enough that we'll be able to find it, if that marker's
Yes.
missing for whatever reason.
Yes.
Okay.
So is the motion's been made to hire this seasonal for the GPS GIS position, is there a second to the motion?
I will second that motion.
So motion's been made and seconded to add a seasonal employee at 40 hours a week for 6 weeks for GPS and GIS for the road department. Any further discussion? Yes, Tim?
Mr. Chairman, just a real quick question. Splitting the cost of putting on additional employees to help out with this administrative process, just a question, under this current fiscal year, the last we heard was that the solid waste department was still in the red, if you will, using that terminology. So where's the additional money really coming from if you're still in maybe you're not, I don't know. That's why I guess I asked the question. Is that department still in a deficit?
It is.
And so where's the
It
money
is,
coming
but
from?
right now, one of my attendants, who is working up at the transfer station as an attendant during the week, is doing the work for me up at the transfer station. So she's doing the invoicing for me up at the transfer station, because I need an attendant up there when people are gone. So that was included in that whole cost associated with the implementation of this plan.
Okay.
So that's where we are right now.
So is your question, Tim, for this position we're talking about right now? Yeah, this is for the road department.
Well, it was mentioned that it's gonna be split between the two departments.
No.
No.
that's-
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
There's two different subjects. We started two different and now we're on one. Okay, I apologize. So the solid waste has got the GPIS location.
No,
No.
that's roads.
No.
Roads locates culverts.
Okay,
Solid waste doesn't have culverts.
so I guess maybe I'll re-ask the question when you get back to the solid waste needing more help.
Okay.
So the motion made and seconded to, add the seasonal person to roads for GPS GIS for a period of 6 weeks and 40 hours a week. Any further discussion? We have a motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same, motion carries. Now we will go on to the administrative assistant for solid waste, roads, weeds, and mosquitoes. This is a 28-hour position.
And then I think to address Tim's question, nothing that we do is one-dimensional. So there's a big picture, and each little piece adds in to fill in the big picture, and that's what we're doing with the whole budget. There's a reason it takes 4 to 6 months, is it's not a one-dimensional snapshot. It is an entire process that brings us to the end point. That this is one piece of that large picture. So it's just more complicated than one-dimensional.
If I might follow up on that, Mr. Chairman, just real quick. And that's why I'm asking the question, because the public really is in a need to make sure that we have all the pieces of that puzzle so we fully understand. And so that's why the question is asked.
And
Sometimes we
I
don't
would-
ever see that information
I
at the
would
meeting or after.
challenge that you would speak for Tim. You already said it earlier, you're speaking as a citizen, you do not speak for the rest of the citizens, just for Tim. I would appreciate it if you would, when you're reporting, tell the whole story. Haven't seen that, but you do just speak for Tim.
Well, we'll keep trying to keep the information flowing. Thank you.
So I have no more questions on this
So this is
issue.
a 28-hour position for essentially public works assistance for help with roads, solid waste, weed, and mosquito. Okay?
Yes, because for mosquito meetings, this person would probably take those minutes too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I would also suggest that this be 28 hours per week max,
Okay.
so that we don't run into an issue
You bet.
where we have to pay for health insurance for 1 month.
You
Again,
bet.
the accounting nightmare,
Mhm.
that is
You bet.
an
Oh.
issue.
So they can do both weeds and mosquito,
Yes.
the minutes for those meetings?
Yes.
That'll kind of solve a little bit of issue on the
Yeah.
weed board.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's
Yep.
cool.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so is there a motion for such a position?
I'm still thinking about some questions I need to ask you
Okay.
yet
All right.
on this position. You said your current budget can support it, right?
Yes.
Okay, without having any additional expenditures.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, my projected revenue for solid waste was even more than my projected expenditures for solid waste, based on the changes that we've implemented. And I do want to let you know for the record that we have only been hauling 3 loads of waste to the Lewis and Clark County landfill since this was implemented. So for the last 3.5 weeks, we've been at 3 loads a week, as opposed to 5 to 7 to 8 this time of year last year.
And what is the cost roughly per trip? Can you put that into numbers? The tipping fee, the wear and tear on the vehicle, the personnel time? So
The tipping fee is probably, just trying to do some math in my head, $500 tipping fee. And then travel in the truck to and from, let's see, what is it, 30 miles, 60 miles, 180, $200. And then staff time went to 70, so 2, 5, 7, $800 a trip, roughly. I think that's a pretty good guesstimate.
So you're saving 3 times that per week.
Yes,
Oh, that puts
yes,
it in a different realm.
yes.
Great.
It is working.
And this person that you're moving in here is actually already in your budget as an attendant, right?
Yes,
Just for solid waste.
yes. I have 2 28-hour positions as an attendant right now, and then everyone else is 12 hours, 12 to 14 hours a week. And I do have one floater because my plan was to have everyone work 3 weeks and just rotate people in and out every month. So, and that's it's not only a cost savings, but it's also, it gives people a break. I don't know that everyone really likes to work weekends. My attendants are very happy. They're glad to be doing what they're doing. They're doing a great job. So, I just thought I would rotate people in and out just to give them a break. We all need a break from time to time, so.
Would you decrease any hours for an attendant or replace an attendant with this position?
I would say it depends. It depends whether or not one of the attendants would apply for an admin assistant job. If so, right now I have enough still to have certain people at certain sites. So without maybe necessarily having a break. And if it was one of my attendants that applied for this and was successful, what I would do is if someone needed a break, if someone was gone, sick, what have you, I would have them step in and fill that position while that person was gone. So that I wasn't looking at trying to pull staff from somewhere else, since we're open on the weekends, and I need 5 people available, 4 people available on the weekends to do that work. So, yeah.
Okay.
Is there a motion to approve this position then?
Yeah, I'll make that motion that we approve the assistant for roads and solid waste, 28 hour a week.
Is there a second?
Yes, I'll second the motion.
The motion's been made into the second to approve the 28-hour Public Works Assistant position. Any further discussion? Yes, Tim?
Just a real quick question, what is the current balance of the solid waste department fund?
I have honestly not run a cash balance report for probably a month, Tim. So I'll be doing that today in preparation for my solid waste board meeting tomorrow.
Okay, that's why the question is asked,
Okay.
where we're at this particular time with moving forward.
Right.
You don't have the answers, it's hard to put the puzzle together. Thank you.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries.
Thank you. And I'm on for anything else today? We're good? Just those? All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mary.
Enjoy your afternoon.
You too.
I will.
Let's see, fiscal year 20 county budget spending analysis, revenue analysis, PILT allocation review.
do not. I didn't have time
Okay.
to grab one. I am wondering if we wanna have Debbie, since she's here, if she's here
Yeah, is she
today,
here?
join us.
I'll go with it.
All right. Hey, you know what? I can get you an agenda, Janine.
Oh, no, that's okay. Just,
I can.
okay. All right, thank you.
There you go.
Thank you.
You're
Sometimes it's
welcome.
just easier.
I think so, for taking minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this didn't happen today, right? I didn't miss anything. Certificate of survey review? No.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Should be done in a couple minutes.
All right.
I don't know. Are we going over ours now?
What's that?
Are we gonna go over public safety, or is that what we're starting on?
Oh, we're going over everything else,
Oh, okay.
and then we got you guys on for 12:30, but as soon as we get done with this, we can go ahead and go with it, with yours.
Yeah. We had a mistake in the worksheets that were throwing us off, so, I didn't find it until Debbie started entering everything in Black Mountain, and her and I were working together and coming up with different numbers.
Okay,
So we're not actually in the, I don't know, it's called black, I like green for go,
okay.
but, we're still a little in the red, so I guess we just have to talk to you about that briefly,
Okay,
if you wanna do that now, or.
we can do that now, yeah, if you want.
So, after Debbie and I worked back and forth yesterday together quite a bit, just really nailing down our numbers, and, we found a little glitch in the worksheet that I was using, in that one, and it was putting us off, roughly $50,000.
That's what I've
So-
seen.
Yeah, so, once I changed the formula to where it was supposed to be, our numbers immediately matched up with Debbie's, and were 21,000, in the red.
Okay,
So, I guess we're looking for direction on, what you guys would like us to do. Or if you guys
know of anything that's coming up. Debbie did talk to me about the $11,000 from that,
Zerker?
from Zerker. That's not like a check coming to us, that we've known about that's there, it has to be spent on Zerker, stuff, so it's, we just haven't had the need to spend that, so it's not, we're not frivolously, let's get something, you know, so it's just been sitting there. Because it was a loan for the Zerker products, so that's the only thing it can be spent on. So I don't really know how that would help this budget, because it kind of would roll. I think the most we could do is like our Zerker payment that comes out of the 911 funds. We could say, take, you know, half of the payment here and then we'll pay the other half. So that would help the 911 fund out, but not necessarily this budget, so.
I guess a question I had, were you guys still planning to help Corey with the Mason Moore account?
Yes.
First? So this is something that we discussed. You know, we discussed not doing that
Okay.
and funding it differently so that it works better.
The auditor
Auditor
was
won't-
gonna frown on
You
it.
see, and if we did that, that'll actually put you guys about where you need to be.
Well,
yeah.
it's not as an expense though.
Yeah,
It's not in this budget as an expense.
okay.
So it's nowhere in there is that the 19 on that, so I don't know where that would help us though, I guess,
Okay,
so. Debbie did put it into her side on that worksheet as she's working through, but it still is once you take that out, it's still that 21,000 that we're in the red, so. We did get the email from Bill Jarocki, I don't know if you guys got that.
recent one?
It just came this morning.
This morning.
Oh.
So he's got a list of all the counties and what the percentage of increase or decrease. And luckily Broward County's fifth in the state for increases. It looks like a property tax valuation. It had a 15% increase. So, which is good. I mean, it's, Madison County was actually 28. And we actually visualized a 16.47, I think, percent increase on commercial property value. So that's even better. But if that comes to fruition, that would be in and of itself, at the current 37.17 mils, that's gonna cover that 21 and change. So I don't think our road's too steep to climb. So maybe just from what I've seen so far, so.
Okay, good.
So I think with that being said, I don't know that is it worth for us to go back and cut 21,000 out, or can we get a commitment from you guys to get us to where those evaluations actually come in and we're over that and then we're fine? I guess it's up to you guys on what you're expecting from us, and give me some direction so we can go back to the table and
Sure.
get this done with Debbie.
Where were you at with your vehicles? Did you take those out of this?
Vehicles are out, so that's a conversation we have to have. I am working with a leasing company right now that says that we'll save a lot of money, but he's working it up. But what they actually do is they would actually write us a check for our whole fleet right now.
Right.
So it would be revenue, and then it would be pretty much a set number every year. We know what to look at. And talking with the guys is it'll be way less than you buying 2 vehicles every single year outright. So, you know, may look like a steadier move forward with with our fleet. And then what happens is then you can replace your whole fleet at once, and then you just make that payment. They do buyback and everything.
Right.
So
It's good if you get into that position. I mean, the buyback, what it does is it gives you a value what your fleet is at that moment.
yeah.
If something was to change, you know that at least your value is that amount.
Yeah.
I think the
They're
other
not gonna
thing.
lock you into a mileage thing, are they?
I hope not.
He did want to know the mileage. He said, "What's your high mileage?" So I told him 35,000 miles a year is probably our highest.
Okay.
So I think there is a mileage thing there, but
Yeah.
unless you just wanted to know about what we're putting on it, but I'm assuming.
That would be my only little
Yeah.
caution there, 'cause
Because once you
Seen
go
over
over that, it gets.
yeah, but you go, it does.
Yeah,
It does. Or that you'll find yourself in a situation where you're gonna park it and try to drive something else, you know, try to, you know what I'm talking
Yep.
about.
And I did talk to him, he was one of the vendors, I think it was Bancorp,
Mhm.
during our sheriff's convention, and, you know, I spent a few minutes with him, and, it is also one of those things that sometimes you go, okay, maybe this sounds a little too good to be true, but, I told him, I said, I'll have my other sheriff come over and chat with you, so, we'll see what happens, I mean,
Cool.
it ain't gonna hurt, I mean, at this juncture, but
Mhm.
if that's a way to fund a means to the end, then it wouldn't be so bad.
Yeah. So kind of what you're needing from us right now is to make a commitment that.
commitment or direction,
Yeah.
so
Mhm.
tell me what you want us to do and I can get back to the table, you know. I think
Right.
with that email from Bill, you know, seeing what the mills look like they're gonna come in at, looks like we'll be well over what 21,000 is, so.
Well, I know you guys have put a lot of hard work into this budget. In this past year, you've done well with your budget. So,
So is everything in here is figured at last year's mill
Yeah.
value,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So everything's at the 16, I think it's actually just at 1647,
Yeah.
without the change, but, I mean, it's, and I like that, I know it's cumbersome, but the fact is, if we can get it somewhat balanced, in the aspect of using old data, you know, whatever comes up in the forefront, it's gonna be, it's just better, so. Should make, we have the most, and that's the thing, we have the most complicated budget of everybody here, because it's an ever-evolving situation, but, you know, it's one of those that, I like Brandon's plan, I think he's done well with it, and he's worked hard and put a lot of effort into it, and I think in the end of the day, it's gonna be, I think it's gonna be a good way to go, so.
sure.
Can I ask a few questions? I also really appreciate the work you've done, and I know you've spent a lot of hours with Bill. So, a couple years ago, and you'll remember this, we were told, in fact, we got the numbers, we had a 9% increase. I think Bill's very correct, but I think there's an element we need to just keep in the back of our minds. So 2 years ago, we were told we have a 9% increase.
Right.
Built the budgets around that, and then Debbie ran the numbers and realized we were losing 5 mills. The reason for that is 1510-420.
Yeah.
Existing properties cannot grow by that amount. They can only grow by 0.5% of the last 3 years' interest, so roughly 0.5% increase. It's all they can have
Yeah.
for existing properties. So our overall increase was 3.9 because of those lost mills. This 15% increase, we have to realize there's going to be lost mills with that. And if there's not, great, we got gravy.
Yeah.
But if we don't plan on that and at least keep it in the backs of our minds, we're gonna get to a week or two before the budget's due and be scrambling.
Yeah.
So I just wanna make sure that that's
Well, I
out
think-
there as a
You know,
thought.
it's like the thing with Northwestern Energy, you know,
Mhm.
on the 11th hour, the last day here, they get that huge thing that just, bonk! It just,
Right.
it happens, and I think there's, Brandon and I talked about, there's some things in there, we're pretty tight, and that's the thing, is that expenditure budget, when you look at the overall budget, 78.5% of that budget is wages.
Right.
So, I'm trying to, I mean, you're talking 21.5% to keep things floating 24/7, 365. And that's the hard part. And so when you start looking, and I'm sitting there going, I told them this morning, I said, yeah, and Lord knows what's gonna happen in the next few weeks with our debacles with Iran and them blowing up oil tankers. You know, that could jump fuel prices through the roof if that continues to happen. You know, we have the wiggle room in that. You know, we have a little excess in the fuel budget, but I'm like, I hate to cut that and then have gas go to $4 a gallon, and then that 7,000 or whatever's in there is gonna go fairly quickly. So, And I can't just say, okay, park your cars and not do anything, close the doors, we're shut down. You know, we're not taking calls or anything else. So it's, you know, 21.5% to operate 24/7, 365 is tough, and I hate to get too, I mean, we're pretty skimpy as it is. And, you know, that's where I'm a little concerned, is that if we cut it any shorter, we're gonna be cutting off our noses by the face. And it's a slippery slope, but I understand exactly what Commissioner Over's saying is, we just gotta, you know, we can't visualize 15, you know. If we do, great, if we don't, we gotta have a plan for it, and I just don't know. I think we play a lot of variables and the devil's advocate, what can and will happen. So, but we, you know, unfortunately is, every time we turn around, it's getting crazier, so. And now they're going, you know, I just got an email this morning, they're gonna go to one lane for the Dawson Bridge from 6:30 in the morning to 6:30 at night. I call that road rage. And, you know, that's what I see happening with that. Some of it's outside my control, but, I think people getting jammed up in that traffic for a period of time, it's gonna be, I think it's gonna be ugly all day, so. And that's just from past experiences with those kind of road construction events, so, it's, yeah. You got anything else you wanna chime in on there? No. Big man? Governor?
I do have a few questions if I can ask those.
Yeah.
So Debbie, looking at the revenue, I know you've been working a lot with Brandon, so again, thanks both of you. The interfund transfer on the first page of the revenue, and I may have an old revenue report, I got your updated expenditures. I didn't run a revenue this morning, we just ran out of time with Board of Health this morning. I show an $80,000 for the interfund transfer, is that still accurate?
Well, yeah, so what's happened in that account is the carryover from the memorial account has always carried, I understand that that's cash, that's our cash carrying over, but that's an estimated what's gonna carry over. In talking with Debbie this morning, that's outside of your guys' commitment from PILT of while that's there, the 50,000 for that account. Roughly 30 of it would be that carryover. Cause I purposely didn't budget for 10,000 of it last year, and I didn't do that this year again in the memorial account itself. And then the money that hasn't been spent in those accounts in the previous years would be roughly that 80,000, and that's, it might go down to 75 or something. We can make small adjustments for that, but talking with Debbie, it is our cash, and we understand that, but it's the cash that was brought in for PILT for that purpose, and I think that we're okay with that carrying over each year, using that to, you know, add to it, kind of build, I guess, and not get lost in the rest of the cash for the public safety, so, if that makes sense.
It does, so it's correct to be 80,000 in that line?
Yeah.
Okay, so if we instructed departments to plan on a 3% increase, if we did that, you know, you guys have the same amount as last year, or at least that was the plan, did that change? It's $599, $515?
It's just because there's no change on the back.
Yeah,
Okay.
If there's actually like some cents on the back that would make up that $6, I think is what it was.
It's rounding, Brandon rounded down and I rounded up, so.
Well, I don't care about the pennies or the dollars, but if we take that number, realizing that you guys did not add that 3%, if you did add the 3%, which if it is 15, even minus a chunk, 3% is extremely conservative. But if we just took the 3%, you're looking at an increase of $18,045. So that's almost your $21,000 deficit. If we then looked at concealed weapons permit, you have $3,000 budgeted, but actual this year so far, you've brought in $3,350, and last year it was $4,875.